I've been living most of my life thinking everybody was doing what they wanted to do. And I've found out recently that's not true. That a lot of people are living a life they don't want. And at the end of the line, they are grieving. They are grieving for the life they lost. I really am trying to understand that. Um, it just it seems like not just a tragedy, but it's so unnecessary. Now, I was reading something today that said to live your own life takes courage. And I never really thought that applied to me, that I was especially brave in any way. But I am 85 and I'm aware that I've lived 98% of my life and I don't feel any regrets. I don't feel that I missed out, that I didn't live my life. I'm not grieving. And I'm trying to get used to the idea that's rare. I'd like to know what you think. I mean, this is hard for me to wrap my head around it. What does it take to actually choose your own life and do what you want to do? What does it take? The article I read said it takes courage. In my case, it took a great deal of foolishness. It took a great deal of resistance to what other people were saying was obvious that I needed to do. And I just, even if I considered it, which I don't remember doing very seriously, eventually I rejected it. I had to know, and I tried a lot of different things, and there were things that didn't work, and things that I dreamed of doing when I was a teenager, and I tried in my 20s and 30s, and I realized I didn't actually like those things, and I wasn't going to do them, and I don't think that's abnormal. I think we should be able to make mistakes, that we should be able to try things that are not going to work, things that other people tell us should never be tried, that they're stupid and foolish, and we want to do them anyway. And maybe we're told we don't have a chance in hell to make them work, but there's something in us that says, I don't care what other people think. I'm going to do it. Now, would you call that courage? I would call it hard headedness. I would call it um, a kind of refusal to listen to others. And that definitely has been one of my traits in life. But here, close to the final chapter, I sometimes feel like I'm sitting at the center of the universe, and all I can do is smile. All I can do is just sit there next to the purring cat and feel like I'm in the perfect place at the perfect time, and I'm a happy human being. Now, I don't expect that when I actually am on my deathbed, I will look back and say, oh, I remember I wanted to do such and such. I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. I um, I still I still resist calling it courage because when I think about my father, and my father and I had a conflict about what I was going to do in the world, and I felt like I had to overcome his objections, and I had to say, I'm not going to do what you think I should do. I'm going to do what I want to do. And it was never in question. I never even considered doing what he wanted me to do. He wanted me to be a college professor. And I did not want that life. I wanted to be some kind of artist, some kind. And and I was always aware of that. Um, and it was just a matter of what art form I was going to take on. And it ended up being painting, and now it's writing. That feels absolutely correct. That feels absolutely right for me. Um, but my idea that I had to overcome my father to to be myself, I think is probably an adolescent idea. I don't think I think I was actually imitating him because he didn't give up his life. He did what he wanted to do. He actually was good at what he did and he was successful. And so now at this late hour, I'm revising what I thought for years, for most of my life, that I had to overcome obstacles. Maybe I cast it in that form with that script because that gave me a feeling of heroism or something, an adolescent idea. But in the end, um, even though I resisted the idea for a very long time that I was like my father, I see something that my wife pointed out this evening. I stick to things like he did. He set his mind and he would not be deterred. And he kept going regardless. And he had failures. He had discouragements. He had people who opposed him. And he marshaled his forces and he won. Um, so I hope I'm like that. I don't know, but um, that's a good spirit. You can call that courage, I guess. You can call that being a brave person. I'm not sure I know anyone who actually chose not to live their life. I knew a lot of people who did what they wanted to do. I came of age in the early 60s, and all the people I knew were um, rebels of one kind or another. They were artists, they were musicians, they were actors. And it was accepted. It was just, you said, I'm not going to fit into society. We never called it courage. We just said, we're not going to accept that way of life. It's stupid. And I'm going to do something beautiful. And that's what we did. And I didn't feel unusual. I was around a lot of people who were doing that kind of thing. How they succeeded later in life, I have no idea because I left the country. But I kept on. And I'm still trying to understand how it is that it's so common for people to come to their deathbed and say, I'm grieving a life that I never had. I never had my real life. I had to satisfy my parents. I had to do what my teachers told me to do. I had to worry about whether I was accepted or not. I had to take care of business. I had to make money. I had children too young. I had all of these responsibilities, and my life never got lived and will never be lived by anyone. I had my one chance, and it's gone. Oh my God, I can't imagine coming to that point. I just, I feel terrible about that. I, I, I don't do what a lot of people do and say, I'm a superior person because I'm an artist, I'm spiritual, I'm intellectual, I'm this or that, and I'm not one of the hoi polloi. I don't think like that. I feel a great sense of sympathy for anyone who gave up their life thinking they just couldn't do it. I just feel terrible about that. I know it's silly, but the idea that it's common, the idea that that is what most people do, that's hard to accept. I hope it's not true. I I don't know. I'm going to stop this talk, um, and I'll probably talk about it again because this is kind of pestering me. This idea, I'm still trying to understand it. Something to think about.